Baruch Fleischman, Tikkun Elevator, Kollel. This is the Midnight Zohar here at the Kollel, and we're going to be learning Parshas Pinchas as we do. In the time that's allotted to us in life, there's just a tremendous amount. I started learning Zohar, I don't know, many years ago. I wasn't so good at it, but I was told that that's the thing to do, and so I started working on it. And then somebody got him, a neighbor of mine, Mordechai Shmalo, it was an SY, he got into the idea that maybe we could start learning it in a formal way. It turned out that there was a material available, people came, steered us in different directions, and we've come to learn the Zohar. Now what we're doing with Parshas Pinchas is a long parsha with a lots in it. And so what we're doing here is we're trying to go through the entire parsha, and it might take a few years. But a little bit we'll be able to see how the Zohar works, the different kinds of it's like a river that's flowing, and it has different machinations. It goes this way, that way. So trying to see the whole thing at one time and get an idea in Parshas Pinchas. Now, let me turn this, whoa, let's bring it back, here we go. Now, what's been happening here is that the Rebbe Shimon is telling us that those who died in the plague at the time of the killing, at the time of the incest that was going on in the camp, and specifically in the camp of Shimon, what Pinchas did to stop it. But then the kasha was asked by Rebbe Lazar over here. He says, "I'm a Rebbe Lazar, Abba Kama Yuso." He said, everything you're saying is great, but the problem is it said that the Jewish people, what's the word? He says, where's the word? He says, "V'yitzamed Yisrael lebal Peor." The Jews adorned themselves for Baal Peor. Now that's true, and you're saying that the only ones, this is what Rebbe Shimon said, that those who died in the plague, they were the Erev Rab, the people who were really the mixed multitude, which had many, many bad habits in the sexual arena. So here we see that leads to the incest that we saw several times, and here it is again. So now we're coming to an answer about what it means to adorn yourself to Baal Peor. So let's hear the answer of Rebbe Shimon. He says, "Mahu dechsev yitzamed Yisrael leBaal Peor." Let's take that pasuk, and it said that we adorned ourselves. In other words, it's mashma that we really got into it to Baal Peor. Talchazi, come and see. Yitzamed Yisrael leBaal Peor lo ksiv. It doesn't say that the Jews adorned themselves Baal Peor with or in or on Baal Peor lo ksiv. That's not what it's written. Ella la Baal Peor, but like he said, for the Baal Peor. Now, what does it mean? He said, "Kashutim v'tukfer v'chayahav the Baal Peor." He says that they did make ornaments, and they did give some strength to Baal Peor below data. So we could pronounce it daita. I love that phrase. Peor below data, so that they really didn't have knowledge of what they were doing while they were doing it. Why? Begin to of the Baal Peor. So what is exactly the method of serving Baal Peor? Who the mitra garme is to make himself naked. La panka kamet so rotachas, and to actually go to the bathroom, number 2, when it's fresh and hot coming out of your body. That's the thing. Go before it in a fresh doo-doo. So this thing is, it got some strength, and it was good for the Baal Peor. So the Jews that saw this, so in other words, this was the service of Baal Peor. You would go before Baal Peor, you would get in some kind of an ecstasy, which would cause excrement to come out of you right in the presence of this idol. He said, the whole would also, so he said, but the Jews, as they saw this going on, they were watching it, they thought that this is a way of like thumbing your nose at it. He says it was zilzula delay, was making fun of it, delay, and corrupting it, and making something really bad in front of Baal Peor by doo-dooing on it. The whole Avodah Zarah said, because in regards to Avodah Zarah, it's written like this: say, go, Tomalo, say to him, V'inun, begin the Zulzula of Avodah Zarah. So that these people, they did this in order to make fun, or to really corrupt, or bring down this avodah zarah, but they did this by themselves without really knowing. V'hani keeper Pinchas. This is the sin that was committed, that they followed along, and they saw all the kinds of people that were pooping before the idol, so they went, I'll do it too. As a result of this, Pinchas was able to nullify the decree of death on this, because there it says, and he performed a kapara, an atonement, for the children of Israel. Let's see how the Matok Midavash understands this. Here we are down the bottom. So Vahemshech Rebbe Shimon the Farish. Now Rebbe Shimon is going to go on and say like this. He says, Masha Kasa, where it's written, be it Samad Yisrael, the Jews adorned themselves the Baal Peor. He says, Chazi, come and see. Im base, so that it's a V'yitzam Yisrael Baal Peor. It has a letter base. So he says, Lo Hamora Alavoda Penimis. So what does this mean? This is not talking about a really an internal kind of avoda. So he says you really write it with a lamed. It's written with a lamed. So B is like it's inside of me. That's my absorb. In other words, I'm really trying to get into it. But it wasn't written with a base. Instead, it was written with a lamed. Hamora alavoda chitzonis. That is, it means it wasn't personal. You weren't really involved in it. It was some kind of work that you did, some action that you did. Dahainu kashutim v'tukva yahava lebal peor belodat. Kashutin, that is, they made ornaments. They enjoyed the koich nasnoch lebal peor, and they did give some power to Baal Peor, below das, but without knowledge. Ritzon Lomer. So let's see the Matok is going to explain this. Shabali yediyas, and without their knowing it, nasan lo koich v'yischazek liyanek mehechelos hatameim. So he says, anikroim so rotachas shemisham yenikasa. I'd have to translate. It's a long sentence, so let's translate a little bit. He said, without their knowledge, they gave a certain amount of koach, which allowed sheyischazik liyonek, that it allowed that fortified the ability to feed off of mehechelos hatameim, from the palaces or the chambers of Tuma, hanikroim, and the chambers of Tuma are called nikroim soa rosachas shemisham yanikasa. That's called a boiling soa, which is doo-doo. That is where that is the place where this idol fed. So those people who served Peor, they had the kavanah for this particular avoda, the hashpia mehechel hatameachu, to bring down strength for themselves from this place of tremendous tuma. Varsh Asa'inyan explains more the idea. The Bishar Avodas Peor Choiser the Galus Atma V'Lotziat So Rotachas the fun of, so the idea was to really bring out your doo-doo, poop, in front of the idol. But the way they pronounce it, they say, or they describe it as Soa Rotachas. It's like boiling or hot doo-doo. So he says, so this is really made the spell, so to speak, of the Baal Peor much stronger. So through this action, that strengthened this Tuma. So the Jews, when they saw this, they thought that this was really bringing it down, making fun of it, and corrupting it, or trying to destroy it. Because this a pasuk I didn't really quite understand. Let's say he said, it's written, say v'toimelo, shuhu lashon soa. So he said, say, it's lashon soa, tomelo, say to him. So he says, kolomer shetzarak levazo sosa, that the idea is it's important to make fun of it, to bring it down, to shame it. Lomer shehi ketsoa, they say that the idol is like this doo-doo. So Yisrael b'shvil zilzvul bodazar, but the reason why the Jews did this was for the purpose of making fun of the idol. Paro atzman, so therefore they pulled down their pants below yediyah shehir avodah, without knowing that this is the way to serve it. Baal elu kafir Pinchas, and for this action, this is the kapara that Pinchas was able to do, ubanto mechem ha'megefa, and as a result of that, the death that came through the plague did not happen to them. This is Baruch Fleischman. This is the Midnight Zohar at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel.